I'm doing this topic by request because I have gotten questions about why I used to wear eyeglasses and I no longer feel that I need them. And it's not because I switched to contacts. I actually hated the high maintenance practices that contacts required. At least I considered them high maintenance. So I did not switch to contacts. I actually see a lot better now. Now, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not saying that you're going to stop needing glasses, although the resources that I list do tend to get those types of results in people. So the resources that I list are going to be divided into eye exercises, which is having more of like a formal regimented time set aside to exercise your eyes. And then the other ones are gonna be just having a full life understanding of your eye health and incorporating practices into your life so that you don't have to set aside time to exercise your eyes. Just make your life healthier for your eyes. I personally don't do eye exercises. I just like having the knowledge and then living in a way that's healthier for my eyes. But some people want the exercises, and the exercises see really good results. And I'm giving you the very best that I know of. Very knowledgeable healthcare practitioners who know a lot about the eyes, who realize, oh wow, there's a lot of preventive care that people can be doing to improve their eye health. It doesn't all have to just be interventions. There's things people can do. Now, when it comes to my story, I just learned a lot about how being an indoor creature will make your eyes less healthy, and learning to either do movement hacks for your eyes throughout the day or go outside a lot. And depending on the day, the easiest fix is to just be outside a lot. Sometimes I have to spend a lot of time indoors, and so there's other things you can do as a workaround if you have the awareness. So as in all things, the awareness should be to make your life better, not worse. So don't use this video as a reason to be neurotic about your eye health. It's meant to help. It's meant to just do things so that your eyes feel better and work better, okay? So I was wearing eyeglasses from kindergarten onward. I remember the first day that I wore my prescription eyeglasses, and I walked up to my teacher with my eyes covered and revealed the new glasses, and we held hands and jumped up and down. We were so excited. And from that age all the way until just a couple years ago, I wore eyeglasses. It was on and off, so I didn't need them so much, but there were tasks that I could not do very well with my eyes, even with the help of the eyeglasses. I remember in college, recently updated prescription glasses, and they still didn't help me. I could not read road signs. I could not see which turn I was making. I'd be like, oh, that looks like a long street name. I think this is it. And I couldn't read the menus that were up high on the wall in restaurants if they're up behind the person that you're ordering. I couldn't read them. I would just guess and then get them to correct me and be like, yeah, I want that. I couldn't read them, even with the eyeglasses. Now I can see street signs. I can see menus. I don't feel that I need extra help to see anything. And I definitely wore my glasses on and off throughout my life up till now. So just know all that. I didn't have a super intense prescription, but I needed the help of eyeglasses to do many things. I was only able to get my driver license with the glasses on, but actually they didn't really help that much. So I'm like, how did I actually legally get my driver license? And now I see much better without them. So with mild eye problems, I was able to solve all of them. Now, am I saying that you'll be able to? I don't know, but having healthy eyes makes you more responsive to the interventions that people give you, the supports they give you. It'll just make everything more effective. Because I see the more I move my body in a healthy way, the more that when I need medical care, I'm very responsive to the medical treatment. So maybe you'll just make yourself a better eye patient that's more responsive, that needs less intervention. So I just want to preface all of these ideas with kind of a metaphor. So we believe that our body just starts breaking down over time. And it's so weird how young we start expecting it. It's like in our culture, 30 is the new 70. Where people are like, oh, just age. I'm in my mid-30s now, so I pee myself whenever I sneeze, and my back hurts so much that I have to do this, and this for my back, and I need a stronger and stronger prescription eyeglasses, and who knows what else. It's like we just think that we're meant to break down that young. Now, I would even consider a 60-year-old still not old enough to just be spontaneously breaking down. There's got to be something else that you're doing or not doing to cause that. So, to make a metaphor for the understanding that you need to have of what inputs your eyes need, we tend to associate aging with hip problems. And we think, oh yeah, my hips are just going to start giving out on me when I'm 50 or 60, like still pretty young. And so we think by the time you're 60, it's really normal to not be able to sit on the floor comfortably because your back and because your hips, and to not be able to get up without a lot of help. to get up from the floor without pushing off with your hands, etc. We don't consider it a problem or pathological that we lose our ability to get down on the floor and get back up as we age, 60, 70, just because no one that age in our community tends to do it. But if you look at other cultures, especially Eastern type cultures is just what it tends to be, but of course many cultures in the world, they'll roll out a floor mat and sleep on the floor. And so getting down on the floor and getting up is still part of daily life. And so the elderly people do not have that level. They don't have arthritis in their hips and their knees. They don't have falling problems, and they certainly have no problem getting down on the floor and getting up. Or if you're in a culture that will take your meals sitting on a cushion on the floor, or any sort of practices that bring you all the way down to the floor, because they're doing it into their old age, they don't lose that ability. And they'll be doing those get down, get up, get down, get up, all the way till they're on their deathbed. It's just normal. So because they keep using it, they don't lose it. Now, we tend to not use things and to lose them, and pretty early on, because you need a lot of input for all your muscles and all your joints and your eyes. And if you're not getting all that input, then the functions are just going to shut down. So, what can your eyes do? We have to know what our eyes are capable of, and then we'll talk about how we don't get that, especially being indoor creatures. And then I'll tell you just little hacks and little things and the general practice of going outside and why it's so good for your eyes, but what you can do when you're stuck inside. So our eyes are made to do certain things. The easiest one to understand and observe is that we are able to move our eyes around independent of our head without turning our head. That's one. We're just going to list 3. Number 2 is that our pupils, those little black circles right in the middle of your eye, in the center of the colored part of your eye, that little black circle can dilate or expand to let in more light. And so it does that generally in darker conditions when you need to let in more light into your eye in order to see. And then your pupils can also constrict or get smaller to shut out excess light. So that's a pupil movement that will respond to the amount of light that's around you. And then number 3 is that we have the ability to focus on objects either really close up or really far away and everything in between, and small things and big things and moving things and stationary things. And so all of that, all the skills of focusing on different objects has to do with being able to see at a really far distance and a really close distance and having the need to see really far away. Okay, and as you can imagine, being indoors, there's not a lot of distance that your eyes are going to focus in on. So let's start back at the beginning of the list, and we'll just talk about how we don't get it, and then I'll talk about why it's good to be outside and how to kind of build in some ways to make it up to yourself if you can't go outside. We're just going to move through this really quick, and then the resources that I recommend, I will mention them, but look at those and follow the ones that interest you, because that is all the information that I went off of to get all these changes, and it's all really, really good information, really good people. So number 1 is the eye movements. Now, if you look into the eye exercises, the formal eye exercises in the list of resources, there are things you can do formally that are just like a wonderful eye, not an eye workout, it's more like an eye massage for your extrinsic eye muscles. Now, that's what it takes to move your eyes around independent of your head, is that you have these kind of skinny bands of muscle that hold your eyes into the socket, and they will shorten and lengthen to get your eyes to turn and move around. So you could just do the practice of moving your eyes around, and there are things that where your eye has to track something in the eye exercises. But if you think about this in a natural context outside, the idea is that your surroundings might not be safe all the time. And for that reason, you have to have the ability to be stealthy and catch things with your eyes without whatever's around you knowing that you looked. And so when you turn your head, it really signals that you caught something. But maybe from far away or from the side, someone or something can't tell that you just shifted your eyes to see them. So I do love to do this where people can't really tell that I've seen that they've come up to me because I don't move my head. Most people will turn their head to see somebody, but I will see them like this. And so it's fun and stealthy. And you can imagine, if you're good at tracking animals or hunting or doing things that require more stealth, then you're probably well versed in this. But there's no reason not to just have stealth in daily life. So it's wonderful to just see how many things you can notice without having to move your whole body to perceive them. Just move your eyes, be stealthy. Now, if you're indoor, this is really simple. screens and reading and looking at a presenter and looking at a lecturer, they all just require that your eyes are fixed straight ahead. But no one ever said that you can't just take a break from that and get some change, get some changefulness, shift your eyes side to side. Now, a quick warning is that sometimes when someone is presenting something and I am caught doing my eye movements, they think that I'm rolling my eyes at them. So be sure, be careful about that. If there's a possibility that someone will be offended, close your eyes and do it behind closed eyes, or just go out to the side, but not so much up. But these things are just a really easy way to break up that eye movement. And your eyes don't always have to be pointing straight ahead. It can relieve tension headaches. It can relieve all a number of ailments just to do what your eyes were meant to do. Now, number 2, now it gets a little more complex, is how much you let light into your eyes and how much your eyes shut light out and all of those things. Now, in an indoor setting, we flip on the overheads. The lighting is always the same. So your eyes are always only adapting to that same indoor light. Now, that will just lead to your pupils always being constricted to the same setting when they're meant to be adjusting to really bright, really dim, and everything in between. So the TED Talk I put in, now not only does having different possibilities of lighting in the place you live, not only is that great for your circadian rhythm to have brighter lamps that are more full spectrum for the morning and the early afternoon, and to have dimmer amber lamps for the late evening that's almost like the color of the glow of a fire, that kind of thing. To have all that changefulness is actually really good for your melatonin production at night and for waking up in the morning. It's great for your circadian rhythm to try to mimic the outdoors, and that's what this guy goes into in this TED Talk. But also it's great for your eyes to learn to work in dimmer settings, brighter settings, and everything. So if you notice that when you walk into a room, you can't function in that room or find anything or do anything without flipping on the bright overheads, then that means that your eyes are only adapted to being able to work in that lighting. So what I did, very simply, is just see how many different lightings my eyes could adapt to indoors. So if I walk into a room and the blackout curtains are drawn shut and everything is dark and the lights are not on, I'll be like, well, can I find the thing I'm looking for without turning the lights on? And often I can. And I'm like, good, my pupils are opening a lot to let a lot of light in, and in this dim lighting, I'm still able to see everything and get what I need and do what I need to do and then get out. So can you also, if you wake up before sunrise and the house is dark, can you get around and find some stuff before you turn the lights on? And usually if I wake up pretty early and it's still dark outside, instead of when I need light, because I'm using a knife to cut up vegetables or anything like that, I won't just go straight to the same overhead light every time. Sometimes I'll turn on a light off to the side of the kitchen so I can see what I'm doing, but it's a little different. I'm always trying to adapt to different settings, different types of lighting. So even being indoors, you can do that. And yeah, you don't have control over everything. You don't have control over your workplace all the time. Some people do. But in your home, that tends to be during the times of day where the lighting is changing the most, like sunrise and sunset. Most people tend to be home for those things. So if you're not going to be outside for all that changefulness, try to create it in your home. And investing in a couple of Somni lamps, which is what I have behind me for the amber light, and a couple of really, full spectrum lamps that try to mimic the sun. Some people buy them for seasonal affective disorder. It's like a small investment, but I bet you could, if you don't have that spending money, you could find some stuff that you don't use around your house and sell it on, Facebook Marketplace or something, and just get enough cash to even just get one of each kind, one amber lamp and one full spectrum lamp, and just plug it in the room that you're working in. But yeah, the overall idea is that if you're indoors, try to get used to different things that are not just the overhead light. Now, of course, your eye is going to be adapting to the most change in lighting when you're outside. And the only advice that I have is, number one, the more you go outside, the more your eyes are going to just be changing and shifting as the lighting changes outdoors, which is a lot. Sunrise walks are wonderful. When you can do that, it's great. But I would also say that take a break from your sunglasses. So a lot of sunglasses are actually low enough quality that they're shading your eyes from the sun, and so your pupils open up and dilate really big, but then they're not actually protecting you from the UV rays, and so now your eyes are more open, more vulnerable, and they're letting in the harmful rays into your eyes. Your eyes are meant to constrict really small when it's really bright outside, and the best way to get them to do that is to not wear sunglasses. Now, I realize sometimes you need, if you're on the ski slopes or whatever, sometimes there's a really legitimate reason to have eye protection. But make sure that you are researching the products that you're buying so they actually protect you from those UV rays, because otherwise you're making your eyes more vulnerable, letting more of those UV rays into the deep structures of your eye. And then sometimes if it's going to really be straining, like in the last week, I had a lot more tension in my forehead and my eyes because I had been sick with something. And so I wore a hat. I just wore a big wide brim hat when I would go outside, and it would keep the hypersensitivity at bay, but I don't do the sunglasses. So I know that there are things that you might not be willing to give them up for, but if you're on a walk with sunglasses, or even if you're on a drive with sunglasses, if you're at a red light, or if you walk into a shady grove of trees, just take a break from them and let your eyes adapt to some different type of lighting. Okay, so the third thing is just focusing your eyes on different objects. And the fact of the matter is, being an indoor creature, you cannot focus in on things that are really, really far away. No matter how big the space is, if it's interior, it's just not going to go that far. Your eyes were built to focus in on very far away things and very close up and everything in between, and to catch little movements and just little things. So it's just an awareness of that. Now, being outside and trying to take in your surroundings and look at every single tree on the distant mountain peak, there's all these things that you can do when you're outside to look at the farthest away thing. And there's also just more interest when you're outside. You're more interested in moving objects. Oh, is that going to hit me? What is that? There's a lot more curiosity. So being outside is great. Now, if you are stuck indoors, though, you can do so much still. Even taking a break from your screen that is always fixed the same distance from your face, taking a break from that to look across all the way down the hall, or the farthest thing you can see indoors every 20 minutes, every 10 minutes, that is great. If you're working by a window, even better, because you can focus in on something that's moving outside. But just getting used to focusing in really close up, really far away, and all that changefulness, that's what you gotta do. Here are some key concepts and some key changes that I've seen in myself, and then enjoy the resources. So it's just like being a desk worker, where you don't have to give up the desk job, you just need to break up all that sedentary time. It's true for your hips. The more standing breaks you take, the more you can even out your blood flow and have healthier metabolism and healthier blood markers and more energy just by taking standing breaks from sitting in that desk all day. Just break it up as much as you can. And the more you break it up, the healthier you will be. Same thing is just break up the sedentarism in your eyes. Take time to look out the window. Take time to close your eyes and just experience darkness for a second, and then keep working on your computer. Take time to catch things like this instead of by turning your head to perceive them. Take time to take a break outside. Now, I do think a lot of people think they can't spend as much time outside as they really can. They just don't want to. So the benefits of going outside are so innumerable that I cannot list all of them. But I did notice at all the jobs, I've had several jobs where you had like scheduled lunchtime and scheduled break time and everything like that. And people don't take their breaks at work in a very healthy way for their body or their eyes. So they're taking their break at their desk, eating their lunch at their desk, still staring at their screen, still indoors. Their eyes are not adapting to anything different. And then when they have their 15-minute break, maybe they're just checking their phone the whole time, but that's not enough change for your eyes. A lot of people, listen, I would always take my 15-minute breaks and my lunchtime taking a walk outside. Now the benefits, like I said, just go on and on and on. And I'm in a place where it's not dangerously cold outside in the winter, so being outside for a quick 10 minutes in the brisk cold is actually really good. It's like a workout for your immune system. And yes, you need to be prepared if there's rain outside or all these things. There's things that you need to, there's preparations to make in order to be able to go outside. But it is so worth the effort. And most of the time, it's not that hard to just get outside. It's really just a matter of doing it. Now, sometimes when I didn't have a lot of time, I would even just take a walk around the building and look out all the different windows. But taking a walk outside, so relaxing for so many parts of you, so many aspects of you just need to be outside. So I challenge you to just look for possibilities. If there is no possibility of that break time and it's not a good, there's not a good walking area, some people, when they take the train to work, they'll take a couple stops early or get off the bus a couple stops early and then walk the rest of the way just to get some time outdoors before and after work. Or they'll park a little further away if that's a possibility and just spend more time getting to where they're going on their feet. There's so many ways that you could just work in, so many ways that you can get outdoors that just take a little bit of creativity. And remember, even 1 minute counts. A lot of us don't have the possibility to take a block of time, an hour or 2 hours to take a walk. A lot of us haven't found a way to strategically incorporate that into our productive lives, but I bet you could find 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, another minute here, 15 minutes there, lunchtime, sunset. There's so many opportunities. So think about it. Think about how you could get outside. Now, just some other things that I've noticed for myself is that I started to get better at catching things in dim lighting. Now, I am not an advocate of barefoot hiking in the dark because there's so much you need to catch, so much subtlety to the texture of the ground around you and the hazards around you that no, I do not do that because I can't catch everything that might hurt my feet. But as I started doing this, I was getting out of my car and this massage ball that I had been pressing between my back and the seat as I was driving, just to give my back a little bit of input. As I got out of the car, the massage ball fell out of the car and it started rolling down the incline of the street. It was dark outside and I usually wouldn't have caught it. That ball would have made a mile before it stopped and I never would have found it again. But my eye caught it because I was so used to trying to find things in dim lighting without turning the overhead lights on in the house. And so I catch things outdoor in the dim lighting and it's not completely dark. There's some street lights farther away and some house lights turned on. And so there's some light pollution that makes it just an overall dim situation. But I'll catch things when things fall or when something's out of place in the darkness. Usually I'll catch it or I'll be able to find things in darker lighting. And you'd just be surprised how, just look around you or look at your gut reaction, how many people can't function in their homes without turning the overhead light on. So just challenge yourself to have different lighting scenarios and to look at different distances and focus at different distances. And even just working those things in throughout your day as often as you can remember will make a world of difference for your eyes. They will feel better and they will start having functions that you have not tapped into probably, maybe not even for your whole life. Now, people who wear eye makeup, I will just make a quick note that toxic chemicals in makeup. It's really hard to get around mascara and eye makeup being toxic because that's like the hardest thing for natural beauty companies to create is mascara that actually stays on. So usually the mascara that does the best job at staying on has the most chemical components that can do all sorts of things to your eyes. So if you really think about it, it's very just a delicate, very absorptive, very thin layer of skin that's around your eyes. And what are you doing? Putting toxic things around them that can cause your eyelid to spasm or eye infections, itchy, inflamed, irritable eyes with, your eyes tearing up and all sorts of things that can happen. So just notice, if your eyes are uncomfortable a lot of the time, it might be your makeup and it might not be worth it to wear it. I'm no expert on these things, but I will say that if it's still a big deal to you and you don't know how to find the alternative, Nadine Artemis wrote a book called Renegade Beauty, and she does have a DIY mascara recipe that I have not tried. I'm not super interested in the makeup world, but my only interest is to tell you that the things that you put on your skin should be things that are not so toxic that you have to call poison control if someone swallows them. It's a little scary because your skin is a very absorptive organ and your eye area is very sensitive. But we live in a world where we buy products that say, keep clear of the eye area, don't apply near your eyes because they're so toxic. They don't want them near your eyes. Now you should be using stuff that's benign and mild enough that you can, massage your eyelids and get the skin under your eyes, and it should all feel really good. It should all be something that your eyes can handle. If you're not willing to give up makeup, I do have some advice at least to get rid of your makeup remover because there's a natural option that works a whole lot better than other makeup removers. So I've helped you remove those chemicals from your life, and they usually tend to be alcohol-based and very drying and not so good. You want only nourishing things for your skin. Jojoba oil with lukewarm water on a washcloth. If you rub that jojoba oil into the place on your skin that has makeup on it and then wipe it off with that washcloth with lukewarm water, removes makeup way better than makeup remover. If you need extra, buy one of the body cloths sold by Norwex, and they have tiny little threads of silver in the microfiber and it removes makeup excellent. but the jojoba oil is nourishing and cleansing, more cleansing than soap, more cleansing than makeup remover. And then rub on an extra layer of jojoba oil if you need the extra nourishment for your skin. So there's a little tip for that. But yeah, just think about your eyes are already taking such good care to stay functional when you're jumping into chlorinated pools with the chlorine fumes going everywhere and being outside when the air is polluted. Your eyes are so good at flushing themselves out and still maintaining somewhat of a barrier between the outside world and your body. They do so much for you. So don't overload them by caking chemical-filled makeup all around your eyes. Just look into other options and other concepts of beauty. And anyway, that's my soapbox. I hope you find this helpful. I hope that you find other things in the sources that I might not have mentioned here, and that your eyes can do wonders for you, have functions that you never knew that they had, and feel better than they ever have. Thank you for watching.